This program is brought to you by Windhoek Draught, proud supporters of Namibian rugby. It is 5 o'clock in the morning in Windhoek. The sounds of the city waking up are interrupted by a whistle and men hard at work. It is the Namibian rugby team preparing for their upcoming Windhoek Draught International challenge against Germany and their Windhoek Draught Northern Hemisphere tour. It is probably the only international side in the world that has to get up this early for a rugby practice, but they are men on a mission. The ultimate goal is their opening match against world champions New Zealand on September the 24th at London's Olympic Stadium. The Namibian Rugby Union wasted no time in getting their campaign to prepare for 2015 underway. Shortly after winning their qualifier tournament in Madagascar in July, coach Dani Vermeulen and his charges started working. Former Welsh international Phil Davies, who appeared in 2 Rugby World Cup tournaments, was appointed as technical advisor. Davies, with 49 caps for Wales, travelled to Windhoek, where he spent a week with the Namibian-based members of the national team.
We came in early September to a workshop and now we've come back to see the progress from the workshop and then to develop the further plans for the team moving forward. They've been fantastic. I don't think I've ever coached at 5 o'clock in the morning before. I remember doing it as a player, training when I was younger. But no, their attitude and enthusiasm and receptiveness to everything. We've not tried to come in and change things. We've just tried to, add value to the systems that they have and try and sort of tweak things here and there and put certain things in place if we feel they're not. But it's been a very productive week.
We're currently working only with the local-based players, and some of them will be part of that test against Germany. But obviously, a lot of our professional players will come in. For now, I mean, the main focus was to get the local players on the same level as the professional players, and I think it has been good. But I think gradually, more time, we can do much better with the local players.
The main important thing at present is to get the good momentum leading into the World Cup so that the guys can have a successful World Cup, and they deserve that with the enthusiasm they have. There's a lot of hard work ahead. I think it's 51 weeks now, or 50 weeks. So there's a lot of work that can be done in a structured way to get them arriving at the World Cup in a fit state and technically and tactically ready to take the challenges on.
An extensive build-up campaign to Rugby World Cup 2015 requires resources and the backing of the corporate sector. Namibia Breweries, who for the last number of years has been a tremendous supporter to Namibian rugby, stepped up to the plate and in conjunction with the NRU staged a benefit dinner for the Velvetiers and former Springbok captain Joost van der Westhuizen. MC of the evening, one of Joost's former teammates, Dox van der Linde, and also showing his support, former Bok captain Corné Krieger.
It's just wonderful to be here, and I hope we raise a lot of money and be able to help him with his costs and that. And obviously, with Namibian rugby, it's wonderful to see them back in the fold and going to the World Cup next year. And I hope we're doing well. And as we understand from Bradley Basson that we're doing good for Namibian rugby. I mean, they're going to have a lot of practice games before they're going to World Cup. So it's one of those immense functions tonight where a lot of people have pitched, and I think we're going to dig deep tonight and put their hands in their pockets to raise a lot of money.
Yeah, it's amazing to be. Actually never played in Namibia. The guys only recently started playing as provincial teams, but I love the country, I love the people, and it's been an amazing function. Joost, I think he had everybody quite emotional because he's in an incredibly difficult position, but he just remains so positive, and he's a massive example to all of us. And just to appreciate your health every day, and just to appreciate life in general, so what an amazing function, for Namibian Breweries to organise something like this is massive, and to raise funds for him, but also for the Velvetiers who are going to the World Cup next year, which is going to be a great event for them. And great country, as I said, and great people, and hopefully we'll raise lots of money tonight.
And the evening was a resounding success. The presence of the man himself, Joost van der Westhuizen, his former Blue Bulls team manager, Veni Stradom, and of course Dox and Corné contributed to the great spirit that prevailed during the function. The result? A few $100,000 Namibian raised. The Velvetiers, Namibia's national team, also benefited directly from the evening and received $100,000 from Namibia Breweries. More good news for Namibian rugby when NBL, through their brand Windhoek Draught, announced a further sponsorship of a whopping $500,000 Namibian to the Namibian Rugby Union.
It's indeed a privilege for us to be associated with Windhoek Draught and the Namibia breweries. We have managed now to turn rugby around in this country, the administration, and slowly but surely we're getting all the stakeholders back on track again. We'd like to encourage other sponsorships also to get on board and put your money behind the Namibia Rugby Union.
For us, it's really, it's absolutely amazing to take the hands of the Namibian Rugby Union and to really support them. I've said it before, Namibia and its people are very passionate about our rugby, our sports. And it's really a privilege for our brands to be, or our Windhoek Draught brand to be associated with the Namibian Rugby Union.
Windhoek has become a very popular rugby destination in recent years. In 2012 and 2013, it hosted the likes of Spain, Zimbabwe and Kenya in the Windhoek Draught Tri-Nations. This year also saw the Blue Bulls in Western Province visit the capital for matches against the Welwitschiers. In September, the Namibian Rugby Union also hosted the Confederation of African Rugby's Under-19 tournament. The hosts, as well as Kenya, Zimbabwe and Tunisia, participated for the honor of representing Africa at the IRB Junior World Trophy Tournament in Portugal next year. Namibia's Under-19s comfortably beat Tunisia 78-3 in the opening match and then defeated Kenya 52-17 at the Hage Geingob Stadium to continue their dominance of age group rugby in CARS competitions.
If you look at our under-19s, the competition that they had in Hong Kong, we showcased very good rugby. I mean, I believe with the players that we have together for the under-19 squad, I'm positive that we will have a very strong team during the tournament in Portugal. I believe that we will qualify. We are fully behind these boys, and yes, this is the type of player that you have to prepare for 2019 in Japan. And if we keep this group together, give them our backing, I'm sure we're going to have a very strong and a world-class player to showcase during 2019.
The victory capped a golden 6-week period for Namibian rugby as the senior team also qualified for the 2015 Rugby World Cup back in July. The success in the qualifier in Madagascar and the under-19s triumph in Windhoek cemented Namibia's place as the top rugby playing nation on the African continent after South Africa. But after losing to Kenya in the opening match, it looked like their World Cup dreams had been shattered. But the victory over Zimbabwe and a remarkable 89-10 win over Madagascar saw the Welwitschiers qualify for an unprecedented 5th consecutive Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, after the loss against Kenya, we were really devastated because we knew that now for us to qualify was no longer in our hands. We had to depend on other teams doing us a favour. And going into that last match, and seeing Zimbabwe beating Kenya and not getting a bonus point, and Kenya also not getting a bonus point, we knew that we are in for a chance, and luckily on the day, we took that chance.
To qualify for any World Cup is always a special occasion, special memory. And this one being my third, it's just going to be that extra icing on the cake. Really looking forward to it. We've got a long time to build now, much longer than in the previous World Cups. We've got more than a year to qualify, so to get ready for the World Cup. So looking forward to it.
In my opinion, the World Cup is a crucial element in Namibian rugby. For all Namibian players, it's a dream where they can work towards. It's something that they can strive to.
With the side we've got at the moment, or with the build-up and with the pool we are in, I think I do hope Namibia's we're going to cause upset, and I do believe we can if we just keep everything the way they are and everything is put in place before the World Cup. And like with conditioning, we're working really hard on conditioning at the moment, and because you have to lay the foundations, you can't just jump on the plane and go play and hope for something special. You have to really work hard at it.
We're sitting in a very interesting place that if we can win Tonga and Georgia, the match against Argentina will determine who will go through to the next round, which is a situation where Namibia has never been before because of the pools that we were in, and not taking away something from Georgia or Tonga, but I think they are not one of the tier 1 countries, which leaves us an opportunity to compete with them better than competing with a tier 1 country.
For me as a coach, I never had the privilege to play against the All Blacks. Most of the players that have played 2 or 3 World Cups also, this will also be their first match against the All Blacks, and obviously, I think that's one of the big motivations for the professional players to come and play for Namibia, is to play for Namibia against the All Blacks.
as a former player and as a current supporter, you know, you've got to commend the rugby union on what they've achieved in terms of the administration, you know, to try and take the game forward.
I honestly do believe that we are, you know, us as individual players or unions, we are, you know, capable of something special, and I think I've got a feeling this World Cup is going to be that one.
Still around 10 months to go before kickoff of the tournament, and already huge excitement in Namibia. This time around, the Namibians have an extensive build-up campaign to that big date against the All Blacks. Probably the find of the season for Namibia is that of Ronaldo Botma. The 25-year-old loose forward who plays for the Pumas in South Africa's Absa Currie Cup competition made his debut for Namibia at the qualification tournament in Madagascar and scored 4 tries against the hosts. Botma visited Windhoek before the Germany test and the team's departure on their Northern Hemisphere tour, despite being ruled out through injury.
It was a huge disappointment for me, but yeah, I had a long season, and yeah, the rest is also good, but it's also sad to miss the test, and especially the tour was something that I looked forward to going on the tour. But yeah, it's good to be here for the week and enjoying every moment and just be part of the team a bit. So yeah, no, making everything worth a while. It was a big blessing for me, and also a big honor to play for your country. And yeah, it was a huge honor for me, and I just grabbed the opportunity with both hands, and yeah, just made the best of it, and it worked out very well for us for qualifying for the World Cup. And I mean, it's every rugby player's dream to play in a World Cup. So I mean, that was an amazing experience that we had to qualify, and yeah, I'm very blessed to be in this position where I am at the moment. I think we made the best of it to qualify. We were in a very tight spot at the end of the last game that we had to play. It was a big shock for us, that first loss, but I just think that it had to happen, especially to get the team together like that. I mean, that last game we had to play, we had to win with 69 points or something, and a lot of stuff had to happen with Kenya and Zimbabwe's game. So yeah, everything just played into our hands, and yeah, it was that last day was such a special memory, I think, for each player in this team. And it's definitely something that's going to build on us for the World Cup. I mean, hats off to the coaching staff and team for pulling it through. It was a very different and awesome experience. It was good to come back to South Africa and also playing in your local competitions. And yeah, it's just good to let people just to know about Namibia rugby again and putting it back on the map again. And yeah, it's a huge honor to be able to play for Namibia, and everybody knows about it. So it's definitely something special. Yeah, it's something that you can't really explain, but it's an awesome feeling, and yeah, I think it's something that every rugby player dreams about. So yeah, no, everything that we're doing now, training, especially in South Africa as well, is just working towards that goal and facing that haka and being in such a top shape, and just to make the best of it. And yeah, no, it's something that every rugby person dreams about, facing the haka. So I think we are privileged to be able to face the haka, and I'm looking forward to it, especially on 24 September.
The 24th of September, a red-letter day in the history of Namibian rugby. But first, Germany in the Windhoek Draught Oktoberfest International. Welcome back to Windhoek, where the month of October means just one thing: Oktoberfest. Namibia has a very strong German heritage. It was a German colony from 1884 to the end of World War I. Today, German is still widely spoken. There are German language newspapers and radio stations, and many traditions like Oktoberfest remain part of Namibian culture. This year, Namibia Breweries, the sponsors of Oktoberfest, decided to incorporate two of Namibia's favorite pastimes, the Oktoberfest and the traditional early summer rugby internationals. As a result, Germany's national rugby team was invited to play against Namibia, a perfect fit. But before the rugby, it was time to celebrate a very old Namibian tradition. The German team arrived in Namibia for their first rugby international match since March this year, when they lost by 20 points to 31 to Russia in a Rugby World Cup qualifier. The Germans wasted no time in getting acclimatized with a flash-out session in Windhoek to get rid of the flight stiffness after their Air Namibia flight from Frankfurt. The Germans have made massive strides and next year will be playing in the second division European Six Nations Championship, but according to their South African coach Kobus Potgieter, there was still some hard work to do.
I think we've got a lot of work still to do. We've got a bunch of very good young players coming up, and that makes it a very positive thing. We lost 2 or 3 old players that was the basis of the team, and it's our job now to create that from the young players. But if we look at the young players that's coming up, we have a lot of depth, but they still need the experience. So I think next year will be very tough in the European Nations 1A, but I think that we have the players to be successful there, and it's our job as the coaches to give them the experience. And a game like this against Namibia, it's the first time in my 5 years of coaching them that I have the team for a week together. Normally it's 3 days and then we play, so it's a great opportunity to build that team spirit and the depth this week further. Yeah.
This game holds great importance for our preparations, first of all coming up for the European Nations Championship next year, but also we want to test ourselves against a nation that's qualified for the Rugby World Cup already in Namibia, and we think we can get a lot out of this game. It's going to be a great test for us. One of the great things about rugby is it's a game played all the world over, and we're in different conditions. It brings a lot of new challenges to the team, and we're looking forward to taking ourselves out of our comfort zone and testing ourselves against quality opposition.
This is the first time that these guys in this team play in a game against the African country, so it shows you that maybe we should look at doing this much more, and hopefully it will happen in the future. But definitely it will give us an indication of where we stand, and I'm sure that the team that I saw from Namibia it's going to be a very, very strong team, and I think it's going to be a very tough game for us on Wednesday. Yeah.
It's a challenge, but that's why we love playing this game. There's no excuses. We've done our preparation in Germany. We're here nice and early. We've got 2 days to train hard and get everything set up, and yeah, we'll look to hit the ground running on Wednesday night.
For this match, Namibia's coach Dani Vermeulen would call on the services of a number of his professional players based all over the world. The exception, Jacques Burger, still with Saracens, Chrisana Botha with Exeter, and David Philander in New Zealand. The trio would join up with the team in Wales ahead of their first match of the Northern Hemisphere tour against Canada. 3 new caps were included in this team, captained by Western Province's Rowan Kitchoff. There were JC Greling from Wesley Old Rugby Club in Ireland, Chui Ioanivi, and Free State Cheetahs captain Torsten van Jaarsveld.
Yeah, well, I think it's any boy's dream to play in the World Cup, and especially for this country as well. So we'll definitely try and go for it. That's the first goal, but we'll go step by step, year by year. We got 2 days before we play our first test, so we're going to spend 20 or 30 minutes extra on lineouts and so we get that sorted. I think it will go well.
I'm very excited. It's a huge privilege to play for your country. I mean, everybody's dreaming of it, doing it one day. So I'm very excited to play. Hopefully I get my first cap on Wednesday night. So yeah, looking forward to it. This upcoming tour, it's something I've dreamed my whole life. So looking forward to know the guys, to play against, say for instance Canada, Portugal, So yeah, looking forward to it.
The match against Germany was very important as Namibia would embark on a 3-match tour of Europe, starting against Canada, the French Barbarians, and ending against Portugal in Lisbon. The foreign-based players only flew into Windhoek on the Monday before the Wednesday test against Germany, leaving very little time for preparation. The base of the squad was made from players who participated in the early morning training sessions. After a very successful season with Western Province, Rowan Kitchoff was back to captain Namibia.
After the tournament in South Africa, it's nice to be back in Namibia, and especially playing a game against Germany. I don't know if they played against them before, but certainly since I've been here, I have never played against them. And as I hear, they have a very successful tournament in Europe, so it will be a very good and competitive test match. Playing the African Cup of Nations, very competitive competition, but going to Europe, it's a whole different teams you face there, a whole different challenge you face there. And obviously, teams are well prepared, very professional units, so it's a whole different challenge we'll face there, but looking forward to the prospect of going there and testing ourselves, and obviously after the tour you can see what you still need to do and where you are preparation wise.
Match day and the Namibian squad assembled at Windhoek's Hilton Hotel for the pre-match luncheon rituals. Most other teams in the world would stay together for the days leading up to a match, but in this part of the world, they do things differently. The majority of squad members hold full-time jobs, so it was an early end to the working day and then off to join the team. Team manager Wessel Kotze went out of his way to make the players feel special, and the team was hugely appreciative of the way in which they were hosted by the Hilton Hotel. The test against Germany was played at Trusco United as Namibia's regular home ground. The Windhoek Draught Stadium was not available, but the new venue proved to be a huge hit with Windhoek rugby fans, and they came out in their thousands despite the test match being played on a Wednesday evening. Nico Dreyer and his staff from the local Drost did a fantastic job in setting up Trusco United, and they managed to create a fantastic atmosphere. And what would a test match in Windhoek be without a braai? Provision was made for spectators to braai their own meat. The presence of Namibian Prime Minister Hage Geingob, who is also the patron of the Namibian Rugby Union, added more luster to an already very festive occasion. The German team also attracted a new group of spectators as the German community came out in numbers, but not necessarily to support Germany, but more to add colour to the occasion. The Namibian anthem is always a poignant moment. At Trusco United, with 5,000 people singing it, it was no different. South Africa's Marius Jonker was appointed as referee in what would be his final first-class match in charge. Like many other South African refs, Jonker also cut his teeth as an international referee in Africa. The late arrival of Chui Ioanivi from Brive forced a late change to Namibia's starting 15, and Niku Esterhuizen started with Ioanivi on the bench. The home side started very well. An early penalty put them into a good attacking position. From the line-out, they held on to the ball through a couple of phases. Namibia's loose forward combination of Dinas du Plessis, Rowan Kitsoff and Tomasua Forbes doing extremely well carrying the ball. The tight forwards also did their part cleaning up the rucks, and eventually the German defence had to give. Johan Deysel from the Leopards made the initial break, sending left wing Johan Tromp away for the side's second score within 15 minutes. The score, 12-6. Namibia turned the screws and just had too much firepower for the Germans, and the two penalties kicked by Christopher Helsenbeck were the only times they looked threatening. Captain on the night, Rowan Kitsoff produced an inspirational performance. Kitsoff was outstanding for Western Province when he did get the opportunity, and narrowly missed out on a Currie Cup winner's medal when he was replaced by Nizam Khan in Province's match 23. He had a point to prove and did so in emphatic fashion, scoring back-to-back tries to put Namibia further into the lead. Ryan De La Harpe also scored just before half-time. Namibia in full control at the break, leading 36-6. Tomasua Forbes scored early in the second half, and when Dani Damas rounded off a very good move, it looked like Germany would be on the receiving end of a massive hiding. The Namibian backline showed some deft skill and vision. Tromp beat his opponent, then cleverly kicked the ball ahead. Damas, who played for Griquas in South Africa, supported well and picked up for Namibia's 7th try of the evening. The score, 48-6. It took Namibia another 10 minutes before they scored again. This time, it was a textbook try. Former Blue Bulls and Southern Kings prop Jaco Engels doing very good work in taking the ball up. Replacement fly-half Dean Skotzer played the ball wide, and it was an excellent pass from the man who plays for Bourg-en-Bresse in France's Federal 1 League to find Tromp, who went over for his second try of the evening. The score, 53-6. Germany then staged a mini comeback of sorts to score 2 unanswered tries. They first came from an extremely well-executed line-out drive, something they had spent a lot of time on at practice during the week. It was the big number 6 flank, Kehoma Brenner, who was credited with the try. 5 minutes later, Germany's captain, Aussie-born Sean Armstrong, was also rewarded with a try. Hilsenbeck converted both to give the German score some respectability. But the home side wanted to end the match on a high and reward the 5,000-strong crowd for their loyal support, and did so in style with one last try. Debutant Chui Ioanivi came off the bench, was involved in the lead-up to Namibia's 9th and final try of the evening, scored by another debutant, JC Greelang. An important win over a side ranked just 2 places below them on the IRB World Rankings, and a big confidence booster ahead of their 3-match Northern Hemisphere tour.
That's great for this game. I think it serves as gave guys a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence going onto the tour. I think there's 3 or 4 new caps. I think for them, starting the campaign of Namibia with a winning culture, that's also important. And yeah, just taking that momentum that we carried on from the African Cup of Nations onto this game and into the tour, I think it's very, very important.
We're happy with the win. We're going to take the positives. There's obviously a lot of things that we have to sort out before we play Canada, but very, very happy with the win. Especially the new guys that came into the team, giving their first cap tonight. All the nerves are settled now. Now we can focus on Canada, and yeah, I'm just happy that we came through the match without any serious injuries.
The week so far we had was great, and I think one of the reasons we came here as well to show the boys what rugby culture is about, and I think all those things that we're going to learn this week we can take with us back, and hopefully we can do it yearly. It'll be great.
A worthwhile experience all round, and there was more to come at the annual Namibian Sports Commission Awards, when Namibian Rugby walked away with no fewer than 5 major awards, including Team of the Year, Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, and Ronaldo Botma was named as Namibia's Most Improved Athlete of the Year, recognition for Namibia's most successful sports code. Next up for Namibia, a 3-match overseas tour starting with a test match against Canada. Join us on the 12th of December at 8 o'clock on Supersport 8 for all the highlights of Namibia's Windhoek Draught Northern Hemisphere Tour. Goodbye. This program was brought to you by Windhoek Draught, proud supporters of Namibian rugby.